Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my very first what's for dinner video. I'm going to take you through my week with my family, and this is everything we had for dinner for the week. I believe it's a total of 5 meals. So yeah, let's get started. So the first night we just did baked potatoes and steak, and so I'm just showing myself frying up some bacon for the baked potatoes as well as chives and cheese. I always do chives, cheese, bacon, and lots of sour cream in my baked potato. But yeah, so this is what we had Monday night. So the next night I just crock-potted a roast. I did the Mississippi Pot Roast. It's a pretty popular recipe right now. You can pretty much find it anywhere. I will be sure to link the recipe that I used down in the description box. But basically all you do is you put a roast on the bottom of your crock pot. You add a packet of au jus mix and a packet of ranch dressing mix. This is my first time actually using the Winco brand for my packets, and I was actually very shocked that I didn't notice the difference. So it'll definitely save you money by using the store brand than name brand. But yeah, so I just put those on top of my roast, and then I'm gonna add a stick of butter on top, and then I'm gonna add some pepperoncinis. I just kind of eyeball it. I always add probably like 6, 7, maybe more pepperoncinis all around my roast, and then I also like to add in a little bit of the juice that it's packed in. So I just put my lid on it, and then I set it for low, and I let it cook for probably like, I don't know, 8, maybe even 10 hours. Just because I started it really early. But yeah, this is obviously just falls off like that when it's ready. And then I'm showing you what we had with it. We just had some corn and then some mashed potatoes. I just used the leftover bacon, chives, sour cream, and cheese from the night before. So yeah, this is what we had Tuesday night. Going into Wednesday, I made biscuits and gravy for dinner. So we had breakfast for dinner, which is rare because I actually hate breakfast for dinner, but I was craving biscuits and gravy, and I'm very picky about my biscuits and gravy. I don't like them homemade, like, you know, the sauce and everything, like the gravy homemade, and I don't like the biscuits homemade. So I make it very simple. I just grab some Pillsbury, like flaky biscuits, and then I bake those. And then to my Dutch oven, I add ground hamburger meat. I mean, a lot of people use sausage, but this is just how my dad used to make it. So we just brown some hamburger meat, and then I will use packet gravy, and it can only be the McCormick brand for packet, like for gravy. I think it has so much flavor, and it's just like, I don't know, I love it. I don't know, am I weird? I feel like I'm weird. Everyone usually loves homemade gravy and homemade biscuits, but I just don't. So I drained it, and then here's another little thing I do. Instead of water like the back of the packet says, I add milk. So I just added some cold milk to my pan, and then I believe I ran out of milk, so I had to use a cup of cold water, but you know, that's okay. So I'm gonna do that. So now I'm just gonna add in my gravy mix. So like I said before, it can only be the McCormick original country gravy mix in my opinion. I think it's the best. I've tried other brands and nothing comes close. It's like a very noticeable difference in my opinion. So I'm just gonna add that to the pan, and then I'm gonna whisk it really well and get all the lumps out. And I always learned, like when my dad was teaching me to cook growing up, that you whisk it like continuously, if that makes sense, like not constant but continuously, like every few seconds to a minute, just so it doesn't scorch on the bottom and the stuff will settle and get all nasty. So that's just what I do. So once I whisked the packet gravy in really well and there's no lumps, I go ahead and add in my hamburger meat that I drained earlier, and then I stir that in and allow it to thicken really well. And that's my son in the background. He likes to put his shoes on and off all day. It's like his favorite thing. So now my biscuits are done, so I'm just going to take them out of the oven and let them, set them aside while my gravy finishes. So now that my gravy is nice and thick, I'm going to go ahead and dish up. And here's my biscuits and gravy. This is what we had this night for dinner. It's super easy, super quick, and tastes really good in my opinion. All right, so the next night, this was probably my favorite dish that I made the entire week, but it is my blackened chicken Alfredo recipe, and it's super easy and it's super flavorful and it's very good. But basically, to start, I like to use chicken tenders. You can use chicken breasts, whatever you like, but I place my chicken tenders on a clean cutting board and then I season it with my Cajun seasoning. I don't know what brand this is. It's just one I found at my grocery store. But I season both sides of my chicken with it, and then I rub it in with my hands. And then, like you should always do whenever you're handling raw meat, you go wash your hands afterwards. Otherwise, you're going to get people sick. So, obviously, I didn't show that clip, but I did do it. So while I was prepping the chicken, I actually put my pan on the stovetop to start preheating. So I set it on about medium high heat, and then I just added some olive oil just now, and then I'm going to add my chicken tenders. I like my pans to be really, really hot when I'm cooking chicken like this, just because I feel like I get a nice crust on the outside and it sears them better. So chicken tenders don't take long to cook at all, so usually I cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes per side. So now I'm just going to prep some of my produce. I'm going to start with my shallots. So I used 2 shallots. I really like the flavor that shallots give. You obviously, if you don't like that strong a flavor, can just do 1. I just think that it gives a really nice flavor by doing 2. So that's what I'm doing. Now my chicken tenders have finished cooking, so I'm just going to take them aside and let them kind of cool off and collect their juices and rest. And I do not drain or wash my pan after cooking the chicken. I just add my shallots and everything right to the pan, just because all of that flavor from the chicken is already on the bottom of that pan, so it just makes the flavor of the sauce 10 times better. So I just added my shallots and I'm going to let them cook. And then I added my garlic. I use a lot of garlic. I love garlic. I want to say I probably used like 5, maybe 6 cloves of garlic. So obviously if you don't like a lot of garlic, you can use less, but that's what I did. So now I'm just going to let that cook for a little bit. And then I'm going to add in my dry white wine. I want to say, I don't know, I use probably like a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of white wine, and then I just stir that around and let that wine reduce. So now that my white wine has reduced, I'm going to go ahead and add in my heavy whipping cream. I want to say I added about a cup and a half in total. I'm so bad at this kind of stuff. I don't measure anything pretty much when I'm cooking unless it's a new recipe that I'm trying out. And even then, sometimes I just tend to eyeball it. So I want to say I used like a cup and a half, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. And then my water's boiling for my pasta, so I'm going to add in a lot of salt because you want to season your water before adding your pasta in. That's the only time you can season your pasta. And my son just figured out lately how to open the refrigerator doors. That's his new thing. I'm sure he might be doing it a few times in this video. And yeah, there he goes again. So now I'm just going to, like I said, add in my pasta and then stir that around and allow that to cook. So now that my sauce has had time to heat up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add in my Parmesan cheese. I always use freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I think that it makes a total difference in the way the sauce will taste. Pre-grated cheese does not have as much flavor as if you just were to grate it yourself. I know it's another step that you don't necessarily want to do, especially after you've been working all day or taking care of kids all day, but I'm telling you, it makes the world of difference. So as you can see, I do this in two sections. I add a first bit of cheese and then I whisk it really well, and then I'll add in my second bit. I do this to help prevent lumps from forming in my sauce, and then my sauce is nice and silky. And then I do a taste test and I add in my chicken that I cut up earlier, and then I taste test it again, and that's just because I wasn't sure if the lack of flavor I was feeling it had at the time was because the chicken wasn't added yet. So once I taste it again, I go ahead and add in some more seasoning. I add in my blackened seasoning, and then I believe some salt and pepper. I decided that this night for our side dish, I wanted a salad. So I just got a Caesar salad kit, like bag mixture that you can get at Walmart. And I just went ahead and threw everything in a bowl and mixed it together so that way it was ready when dinner was done. I'm curious, what's some meals that you made for your family this week? I'd love if you'd comment down below and give me some ideas and some inspiration for things that I could possibly make for my family the next week. Okay, so I don't know what happened to this frame. I don't remember recording it this way, but I'm sorry for the picture. But now I have gone ahead and drained my pasta, and I'm just gonna add that back into the pan with the burners off, but add it back to the pan that I cooked it in, and then I'm gonna add my sauce over it, and then I mix it all together, and that is how you make the chicken Alfredo. This is how it turned out. This is my Cajun chicken Alfredo, and then the side salad. This is what we had Thursday night. All right, so Friday night. Friday we had tacos. So I started out by throwing in my ground turkey into my pan to start cooking it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and dice up my onion to add in with my turkey meat while it's cooking. I definitely did not need to use a whole onion. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was a lot of onion. But I use ground turkey, honestly, because that's what was on sale that week. If ground beef is cheaper, then I will use ground beef, but my family doesn't necessarily have a preference. As long as it's really well seasoned and has good flavor, we don't care. So I'm gonna go ahead and dice up my onion, a lot of onion, and add that to my pan to cook with the turkey. I feel like when you add it to the pan while the turkey is cooking, it just adds more flavor to your meat. While my turkey is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start my rice. My family has started to really enjoy having Spanish rice in with our tacos. So I'm just going to go ahead and cook it according to the package instructions on the back side. Now I'm going to go ahead and start my refried beans. I start by adding a can of refried beans into my pan. I think I have my pan set at low, medium heat. It's pretty low. Not super low though. And then to my refried beans, I actually add in sour cream, just a little bit, and then some grated cheese. While everything else is finishing cooking, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this time to dice up my tomatoes. This way, when we are ready to assemble, it's already done. And that little face you see in the corner is our German Shepherd, Sadie. We have two German Shepherds. We have Sadie Mae there, and then we have Max. And Max is our firstborn, and Sadie was a rescue. Now that my turkey meat has finished cooking, I'm going to go ahead and season it. We just use the McCormick's taco seasoning. I just buy it at Costco in bulk because we use a lot of it. If I was using ground beef, I would have probably drained my meat. But since I was using turkey, it's so lean that there's not a lot of grease or anything. So I just left it as it was and didn't bother draining it. But I kind of eyeball it. I don't really do the directions that states on the back. I add a little water here and there until I get the consistency that I like, and then of course the seasoning, and then let it do its thing. So now that everything is all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and assemble my taco. We really like just to use flour tortillas, but obviously you use whatever you and your family like. But I start out by doing a layer of refried beans and then a layer of taco meat and then some of the Spanish rice we cooked earlier. And then I add cheese, tomatoes, shredded lettuce, and sour cream. And that's how I make my tacos. All right, and that is how I made my tacos. That is everything that we had this week for dinner. If you like this video, I'd love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, please make sure that you're subscribed so that you know when I upload my next video. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Don't forget to comment down below and give me ideas and tell me what you made for your family for the week. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I hope everyone has an amazing week. Until next time, bye.